How many of you were present yesterday, and how many of you are attending for the first time? How many of you are attending for the first time? Why I'm asking is so that I don't have to repeat all the things. Okay, we have one of them who is for the first time. How about others? Okay, we have few people who joined for the first time. Anyone else who is for the very first time and not joined the last class? All right, I just brief what are we going through so that you don't feel yourself left out in this session. So this is day 2 today for the modules Cisco ASA FTD, which is part of our two courses. Course number 1 is CCIE Security, and another course that intersect this is Firewall Mastery. Yeah, by the way, we also have a CCNP for someone who needs only CCNP level. So this is a module which is a part of all the three courses. That's why we have a broader group of people. Later on, once the Cisco ACFTD is done, we will have a different time slot for CCI security. Usually, this is kept at 8 to 9, or I think it is 7:30 to 9 p.m. And this is usually kept at 9 to whatever 11 or let's say 10:30, and this will follow the same timing. So the rest of the modules, when we complete ASA/FTD and move towards, let's say, Cisco ISE or SCORE or SVPN, the timing will be almost, not overlapping, because I know there are some people who are attending both. So we cannot keep a same time for both of them. So it will be like next to next. So you can be part of this, and immediately when I start the next module, let's say Palo Alto or FortiGate or something, then you can also be part of the course too as well. Okay. So this is for someone who just joined. We are starting with Cisco ASA FTD. In the last class, we did a very small lab. We just tried to ping from test machine or test PC to, let's say, outside. So the traffic direction was inside to outside. So the security level was 100 towards 0. So usually this don't need any ACLs, or this do not need any policy. However, since we were trying the ICMP packet, which is considered to be by default considered to be a non-stateful feature. So we had done some changes in the global policy, and then we saw that it started pinging. If you have not watched the recording is on our YouTube channel. I'll also give that link in case if you want to go back and go through it. So this is the recording, or you can simply go to the official channel and you can search for the latest video. So it will be the day 1 coverage. So we did some packet flow discussion. We did see this small example. I had given you guys a URL file. And guys, those who have enrolled, by now you might have already received the welcome kit. Agree? So you might have received the welcome kit, which has a login access to the LMS, which is the Learn portal. So all the recordings will also be kept here on a longer run. And we will also give you remote lab access. So this particular module will have almost like a 3 month of 24/7 lab access. And we will also give you assistance on the home lab setup. So once you have downloaded the needful file, which is kept over here in the Google Drive, you can let us know over on WhatsApp or over on email. that you have downloaded all the file, because they can be like 30 to 40 GB of file. So you download it, keep it ready, and then you can share a Ultra Viewer access or something, and my backend team will help on setting this up. So this is what the welcome kit consists of. Okay. So those who do not know how to access the LMS, it's pretty simple. You go to learn.networkjourney.com and there's a login button. You can log in, and there's option called login with email. Okay, it's the email which you are already registered with us. So the same email ID, the password is already emailed to you, and you can get into that. The lab access is located somewhere in this on this link. So you might have received your own credential. So when you put your credentials and log in, you're through that. Let's say CCI, something like this. Okay, so this is how you access the remote lab. So it's a web based. You can access it from anywhere, your personal laptop or your office or anywhere. So you just need a basic laptop, because however the load, the utilization is on our side. You just receive the front end of it. The load is on our side. Whatever you power on, it is actually going on our side. See, the students are practicing. Some of the student, this was my SVPN lab. So some participant or some student from the previous batch is practicing. That's why you can see some of the nodes are powered on. And if you're using a home lab setup, as I said, you will get the things on your own laptop. Make sure you have at least like 24 GB RAM, and at least 4 to 6 core CPU, and 100 GB of hard disk. Preferable is SSD. So if you have this option, then only go with home lab setup. Users with 8 GB, 4 GB, 6 GB, please don't even think about running home lab. It is not going to run on your machine. So for you guys only, we are giving you a 24/7 lab, so that you can spin up the lab as per your convenience, and you can practice it. So look for this, especially the guys who have enrolled. Those who have not enrolled, you have to enroll to get all this material. So today is the final day where you can join this session, just to see how the sessions are conducted, what is the materials shared with the enrolled participant. And then you decide, you enroll, and then you get all the things. And from the next Saturday, we are going on a locked session. That means only the enrolled participant will get a dedicated Zoom link. Throughout the session will remain the same. And every Saturday, Sunday, we connect by 9 p.m. The session should be for 1.5 to 2 hours, depending upon the topic. All right, so I'll carry forward now. This is what we did discuss in the last class. We discussed about the difference between a router and a firewall, and we got a very good points written down, almost like 10, 12 points. And we discussed about the packet flow. So this is the packet flow for ASA firewall. And then we went ourselves towards the lab side, and I had done a very small lab in the last class that was on this lab topology. Okay, so I did deploy something and we added. Anyway, now what I will do is I'll take you guys to our regular lab. This is the regular lab. It consists of all the components that we need from ASA, firepower, and from a basic automation point of view. It has FMC, it has FTD, it has a Win server, Win test machine, Cisco ASA firewall. I'll be also adding a Cisco eyes in some days, because we need some lab scenario based on Cisco eyes. And we have some automation things here for doing some basic testing, right? So this is how the lab would look like. On day one, if you're from a routing switching guy, you might be confused by seeing what this is all about. If you have a basic background from the security, or if you have bit knowledge, or if you are at least 5+ on a network side, then you can at least correlate that these are two different sites, right? So this one of the site here, let me use my marker. So if you closely watch this, this is site A. This is site A, which has some edge router. And within the edge router, in the sense ISP router, which is connecting to ISP. And in the LAN side, we have two Cisco ASA. We would be practicing the high availability and port unblocking, blocking, all those scenarios. So these are two ASA firewalls. And behind, we have all the LAN test users. So these are users. This is my ASA firewall. Okay, so we'll do all the examples like, for example, if I want to restrict this to users accessing or communicating to each other. So what would be the way we would achieve that? So all the things from ASA point of view, we will do in this section. VPNs, right? Because we will have remote access VPN and clientless VPN scenario based on ASA. So we will be using this section. When I go to the firepower section, firepower topic, then I'll consider this section. So the onboarding of FTD onto FMC, we will see it here. How do you access FMC on a management PC? We will see this here. Okay. So all the firepower related concept we will discuss here. Intermediately, you see that site to site has to be connected. So all the things related to VPN, site to site VPN, remote access VPN, DM VPN, whatever different techniques of VPN you want to discuss, we can discuss it here. That's the main purpose of keeping these sections. So this is section A, this is section B, this is also a small section which you can label as C. And how do you connect this section, or how do you connect this site to site? We need some VPN intermediately. So IPsec, AnyConnect, DM VPN, all those things we can discuss as well on the same topology. And for some automation purpose, I've kept some ASA here. So this is for automation purpose. Okay, they are connected to a PC. They are connected to a PC where I would be installing PyCharm, Ansible, and API. And then we will see some basic automation, one or two classes from automation, though this is not a dedicated automation class, but we still need to know automation because CCI has a topic a bit 5 to 10% for automation. And from the firewall mastery as well, when you deal with any technology, it is better you know in and out of it. So automation is something which is very crucial these days. So from that point of view, we will do a small one or two, three classes for automation point of view as. So this is how the labs look like. On the first day, as I told, for someone who is from a regular routing switching, it will be very difficult for you to understand or digest the whole lab topology. So what I will do is I'll just zoom in to the section which I need for today. So I might only need this section, nothing else. So what this consists of? So let me just highlight what I need for today. I just need this section. Okay, we don't need any other section, so I'm not going to even power on them. Even you guys, when we give you a lab access, don't power on everything because that will slow down for you. Go wisely. You can power on what's needed. Say, for example, I need now 2 test PC and I want to see some port unblocking or port blocking scenarios. So whatever is needed, let's say this is a user, I need him. This is a user, I need this guy. This guy, this is a switch, I need him. And let's say a basic Cisco ASA is needed. So it's only this four things that I needed. So I just powered on only those four. Rest I don't have to power on. When you need it, you will power on. If you don't need it, you don't power on. because it will reduce your own performance. You will face the slowness when you are accessing the lab. So why do you want to spoil your own lab experience, right? So just power on whatever is needed for you. So four things which is needed. Now, what is that we are going to check today? So let me put some scenario that in today's scenario, let me write down some scenario. Let's say first we'll configure all the management IP or whatever we need on these four nodes. Then we will say that on the VPC1 is nothing but a test PC. So test PC will have a static IP addressing. And for the VPC2, which is the second user, uh, test PC once again, we can see how a ASA can act as a DHCP server. So I can say that VPC2 test PC act as a DHCP client. So where would be my server configured in this scenario? My server will be configured on the ASA. So I want my ASA to be a DHCP server. Okay, these are all CCNA concept, DHCP, if you know the DORA process, right? So it's all the routing switching concept itself. What else we can try? Let's say after the third scenario, I want to specify my VPC1 is on VLAN 10 and my VPC2, which is a test user 2, is on VLAN 20. So in this scenario, what happens is I can see the configuration of sub interfaces. Do you know the configuration or sub interfaces? What is sub interfaces? Yeah, you might have heard that router on stick or sub interfaces where we configure something like say something like this. When you divide logically a interface based on a VLANs, right? So I will see how ASA act as being a sub interfaces. We might have seen in router, but today we will see it in terms of ASA, a firewall, how a firewall can also have something like sub interfaces. So my approach would be that on this interface, gig 0/2 of the ASA, I will have two VLAN supported, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. 10 being for the, let's say, sales team, for the sales people. 20 for, let's say, finance team. Two VLANs. So definitely my switch will also need to have certain things from the routing switching, right? So this will be a trunk, and this to interface will be access port. So trunk port and access port. So that is the concept. That is what we will see today. That will be scenario number 4 when you configure sub interface on ASIC. What else we can see? Let's say I want to ping VPC1 between VPC1 to VPC2. So what do I want to try out of this? So let's say VPC1 is on the security level 100. And on the second side, let's say this is also something like 100. So it's a scenario where you are trying to ping two users in different VLANs on a same security level. So we will see, is that by default possible, or you need some additional configurations to be done. So that is what the scenario 5 we would be discussing. You have already seen the scenario 100 to 0 yesterday. For ICMP, you should add some changes. For TCP and UDP, it was doable without any access list. So we will see what happens with security level 100 to 100. And in the last scenario, I would be going with our final checklist. That is, we will once again ping VPC1 to VPC2, but now considering the fact they are not in the same levels. Say for example, this could be 50, right? We never know if this is my own private LAN, I might keep the security level 100. But if this is a customer server or a PC, I can still give him 50, if not 0, because 0 is always outside facing. 50 in the sense it's still with us, but it's a customer facing server or something. So now this is a scenario where your packet is traveling from high to low. So in this case, what precautions or how would be the access list look like? That is what we will see from scenario 6. So this is what I'm planning to do. They are very basic lab, but for someone who is coming from routing switching, then definitely this is something a very good pace to start from. Okay, once you clear with all the basic things, then the next classes will be very easier for you. Someone who has already worked extensively on ASA, for you guys, this might look very basic. Just take this class as a refreshment for you, because next classes we will pace up with some other topics. So we may not be again discussing whatever we are discussing today. So this is for everyone. Someone who is very beginner, someone who is already aware of how those things work. So this is something what we will cover today. Okay. So first let's configure the management IP. I use this notepad to prepare my config, and then I copy paste onto the devices. The reason is if I make some mistake, then we have a record on the notepad to compare that, yes, I did a mistake initially. That's why I was not able to ping. Or also sometimes what happen if I lose the reachability or my nodes are powered off, I might have to rewrite the things once again. So it's better keep a notepad to prepare your config. Even in CCI exam lab, you will have a access to notepad. So whenever the configs, repetitive configs, especially for VPNs, you better make it in notepad, because there will be 2 or 3 scenarios which are related to remote access or VPNs, right? So if you have one copy of it, it's very easy for you to just change few things and use it for another scenario. Okay, so especially when you're writing too many things, it's better make a habit of using a notepad rather than doing directly on the box and then spending a lot of time to troubleshoot whether you did a wrong subnet, did you put a wrong IP. It will become a problem for while you troubleshoot. Fine. So first, let's configure interfaces. So I'll first go with the ASA box. Considering that it's a very new box, let's say I'll put the host name. And what physical interface is that? The physical interface that I see, which is connecting to our LAN, is gig 0/2. So first I'll unshut it. So gig 0/2, no shutdown. I don't need IP on this. Instead, I would be configuring the 2 sub interfaces for 2 VLANs. So this is how my configuration would look like. 2.10, which is for VLAN 10 trunking encapsulations. You can just name it like it's a HR VLAN, and you can also give the security level. So let's say first I go with security level 100, and the IP address here is you can check at this point, and you can accordingly give some IP address. So let's say 10.1.1 and 255.255.255.0. So this is my first interface. Then I go with the second sub interface, which is 2.20, where I would be dedicating the header for VLAN 20. Name if this is a sales VLAN. IP address. Okay, by the way, this is going to be my DHCP. That is what our scenario some time back was, right? So my scenario 3 was one of them will act as a DHCP. So I have to see how ASA will correspond or respond to the DHCP server. So I will not be giving, I'll be instead making this interface to act as DHCP in some time. So let me finish this writing the gateway here, 192.168.10.100. No, it will be, let's say 1.1, 255.255.255.0. Security level, I'll give it as 100 itself. Okay. Now coming to the DHCP. Usually in the routers, you go with this command. But in the case of ASA, you will go with the DHCPD and then define the range that you want to allocate for users connected over onto this interface, because they will be acting as a DHCP client. So they need a IP pool from you, right? So you can say that anything from .3 till, let's say, .100, you are going to give it to this users connected on the interface called sales VLAN. Okay, this is the command with the range. And then you can enable, you have to enable this. You will say DHCPD enable, and you just enable it on this. This is how ASA will now be acting as a DHCP server. Router configuration could be little different. In router, you go with the DHCP, define the pool, you define the range, you define the interface where you want to activate. Here, it's two simple command. DHCPD address, a range, which interface you want to allow this, and you activate or enable that particular interface. So this is what my ASA config will look like. Yes, you can do exclude, you can do DNS, you can do everything which is needed in the production. As of now, we don't have any DNS, but I'll show you the command by giving a question mark so that you can see what other things that you can enable with DHCP. Okay, so DNS will work, exclude command will work, everything will work. When you do a question mark at this point, you will see all the different points there. I'll show you when I'll bring it to the devices. Okay, now we'll go to that switch. There is a L2 switch. Let me consider it's a brand new switch. So I'll just say switch 01. Now, one of the interface would be trunk. Which one of is that going to be trunk? It will be this interface, right? Because you have already made two sub interfaces. So the packet, the frames over here, the packets over here will have that identifier. So it will have identifier 10 and it will have identifier 20. So you should also have a trunk enabled on the switch so that it can accept those 10, 20, and it can identify that this is for 10, this is for 20. So we will make a trunk configuration. So I'll say interface gig 1/2. Let's make it no shutdown. And then I'll say that switch port trunk. What is the encapsulation we need to allow? It will be .1Q. So .1Q, switch port trunk, allow VLAN. What are the two VLANs we need? 10 and 20. And you can also make this switch port mode trunk. Okay, sometimes this command, if you don't deliver, it don't work sometimes. So it's better you give all the three commands which is needed. So first I make the encapsulation, then I allow 10 and 20, and then I convert this interface to act as a trunk scenario. And the rest of the two interfaces, which is towards the users, they will be access port. So this will be 10 as per the diagram, and this will be 20 as per the diagram. So let's prepare that. I'll say that interface gig 0/1, no shutdown, switch port mode access, switch port access, VLAN 10, and interface gig 0/2, no shutdown, switch port mode access, and switch port access VLAN 20. So this is going to be my switch config, and nothing more than that is required as of now. On the VPC, those test machine, they are a different set of nodes. So the commands there would look something like this. Okay, so on one of it, where I need the static configuration, I will provide it this way. Let's say 10.1.1.100 255.255.255.0, and what is the IP on that ASA firewall? It is .1, and then I will save that. And on the VPC2, I'll go with the IP DHCP and I'll save it because we have a DHCP config enabled on one of the interface, right? So from this interface, I want the PC to act as a client at this point. And the other one, we will give the static. The reason is we have this scenario to be handled. So we did configure management on the switch ASA and the test PC. We have done the static IP. We have also done a provision of getting the IP in a DHCP polling concept from the PC2 point of view. So we will finish off this now, and then we can start with the next ask. So let me copy the config on the device now, and we'll see if it's good, if it's bad, if any typo. So let me copy this. I'll open the node. Single click will bring up this console. So as usual, enable, no password. So just press enter and then get into the configuration terminal mode. Control Shift Alt will give me a clipboard concept. So I'll just copy paste the clipboard here and then I'll right click. Okay. So this is how you copy paste something on the device. So you can just go through that if there is any typo. So host name is good, interface is good. Then you did 2.10. Okay. Then you did 2.20 and then you did DHCP. So I had told you when I do DHCPD, I'll do a question mark to show you the rest of thing. So you have address, okay, where you gave some range over here. You have DNS, you have domain, you have the enable option, you can change the lease, you have options, you have update, you have if any NetBIOS servers. So these are some of the options here. If you go with only DHCP, it will say that it's a unrecognized command because the command that works on A says DHCPD. Okay, and then it might have some more options. When you, let's say, go with enable, do a question mark, then it might ask you which interface you are activating this DHCP polling. Or if you want to, let's say, go with DNS, then it will ask you where is your DNS server. So you can configure that. So those are all the different set of commands that you have on the DHCPD. Okay. So what next? What we have, okay, not this. So then we will go to the switch side. This is the config, one trunk interface and two access port. I'll click on the switch, conf T. I'll paste it here. I'll go to text input and I'll paste it. Okay. So we have host name, we have one of them acting as trunk and then access port. You can check this output for show interface trunk to see if the interface is on a trunk or not. So one of them is acting as trunk. And you can also check show VLAN. So it will show you which interface is now assigned to VLAN 10 and which one of them is assigned to VLAN 20. Are the interfaces all good? So you can see some of them are good. You can also make sure here, because sometimes what happened, they would be admin shutdown if you would not have done no shut. Yeah, so this is good. And also remember, the physical interface should be up, because you might do sub interfaces, but forget to do no shutdown, no admin shutdown here, right? So in that case, the interface is not going to serve any packet. So remember, making sub interfaces no shutdown is optional, but physical interface you must compulsory do no shutdown, because sub interfaces by nature they would be no shutdown always. They will be no shutdown. But the main interface, physical interfaces, they would be still showing as admin down. And if that is the case, then these two are not going to serve the data traffic. So make sure that physical interface is also made no shutdown, and it don't need any IP. It's not be going to act for any routing purpose. It is only the sub interfaces which is needed for now. Then we'll go to those two small PC that we have it here. This is a small PC. I could have added Win machine, but the reason I didn't add Win machine, because if I give you this ready-made file for as a home lab, then you might have a lot of resources needed if too many Win PC. This VPCs are very small, like 128 MB or 256 MB. They need space or RAM, right? So we will just add the IP addressing here. Let's say 10.1.100 255.255.255.0. 10.1.1.1 is my ASA. So let me assign that. To save this, I go with save command, save done. You can try to ping your own gateway. Gateway is that ASA interface. It's reachable. Now you open the second PC. This is on the DHCP. So I have to see if ASS is acting as a DHCP server or it needs some more config. So let me make this client or this PC act as a DHCP client. So command would be IP DHCP enter. Now the DORA process happens. So you can see discover, offer, request, and what is that? Acknowledge. Now you have IP. How do you see that IP? Show IP. And you have received dot 3. The reason is you have given a range between dot 3 to dot 100, right? So you can check your DHCP bindings. See, one IP is allocated just few time back. So few minutes back. So you can see that that is gone to this. And he is having show IP as dot 3. You can also ping your own gateway 192.168.10.1. Okay, so both the guys can reach their gateway. So this guy can reach the gateway on dot 10, and this guy can reach on dot 20, which is DHCP by nature. And here we have given a static on VLAN 10. So what is the requirement that we have fulfilled? Where's my requirement list? This was my requirement list. So I've done the configuration, I have done the static addressing, I have configured VPC2 on act as a client, and I have done the needful now. I have done the sub interfaces. So my fourth requirement is also done. Now I will go to requirement number 5. So my requirement number 5 is, can I ping VPC1 to VPC2, because they both are at 100, right? Both of them were security 100. We can just quickly check. So if you do see show name if, these are dot 10 and dot 20, and you can see the security level, they are 100 and 100. So will they talk to each other? Is that the question now? So let's say 192, 168, and was the IP on the second side? It is 10.3. 10.3. So you can see that it's timeout. One reason could be the thing which we discussed yesterday. ICMPs are not stateful. So that could be one reason which we have to allow it, right? So how did we add that feature? Because we are trying the ping command. So how do I bring that? I think I have the config somewhere here. Okay, so since this is ICMP traffic, so I'll add over here. Policy map, global policy, class inspection default, inspect ICMP. We will try adding this and we'll see if it comes up or if there's some more challenge. Okay, so we have added the needful. Now let's try. So this is VPC1 and I'll try to add dot 3. See, once again, it's going timed out. So how do I come to know what's going on? Am I receiving some packet or I'm know what's going on? I can open up Wireshark as well. So I can, let's say, enable the capture on gig 0/2. So this would be like our graphical way to see if packet are received, replied or not. But sometimes we don't have packet captures, right? So in that case, you can depend on ASA as well. ASA also has some capture option. So the command would look something like this. So you can just say VLAN VLAN 10 to 20, and you need it on interface gig 0/2. So let's say you need it on sales VLAN, real time, match, ICMP, any to any. Okay. And you can initiate some ping packet. So you can see that as of now, there is only request packet, ICMP type 8 packet. There is no reply coming to you. So there is high chances that your firewall is not processing itself. So there could be reason that access list is not present, but you don't need access list if it is same to same security level, right? You need only access list when it is from a 0 to 100, when from a high risk to a land site, then you need a policies. But as of now, you see that you don't see anything on the sales interface. But what about any capture visibility on the inside interface at least? So to do cancel this, you can do Control C and add another the LAN side of interface. You can check HR VLAN. See, you can see packet is entering the firewall, but firewall is not processing it and going towards the sales VLAN. Did you see that? You can see that the packet is coming. It's a request ICMP. You know how the ICMP works, right? Just give me a second. See, this is a HR VLAN PC. You have ASA machine, ASA firewall, and then you are trying to ping sales team. So ICMP is in this direction. So initially a code 8, which is nothing but a request packet, is trying to enter. That you can see from the capture that a packet is trying to enter. But then there is no packet seen at this level. So that means packet is not getting processed at all. It is for some reason getting denied or dropped or for whatever reason. The reason is they both are on 100. When they are both on 100, you should say that the same security level can talk to each other. So there is one command which you need to add. Once you add that, then it will work. So what is that command look like? The command will be same security, traffic, permit, interfaces. That means on a ASA, if I have interfaces which is connecting to the same security level, then do allow them to talk to each other. Okay, same security, traffic, permit, interface. So I'll just cancel this capture. I'll get into the configuration mode and then I'll input this command. Same security, traffic, permit. So there are two options. Interface is what I needed across the different interfaces. Interfaces. Okay. Now let's check the ping. See, now it start working. And if you bring back those captures, let's see what is the response. So this is on the ingress interface, HR VLAN. So you will see both request and reply. And you can also parallelly check on the egress side, which was sales VLAN. So you initiate a new set of packet. So you will see the packets over there as well. Okay. So what is the learning at this point? So you bring back all these things here. So now whatever you have, the two test machines, A and B, which are on security level 100. Okay. So they are able to ping each other. I can see ICMP request and reply both packets, and I can also see those two packets over at this point. So earlier, I could only see the request packet only. There was no reply. There was no request. There was no reply on the other side because it was just entering the interface, entering the ASA, but it was getting dropped because it had no this command enabled. So this command by default is not present. We need to add it. So most of the time in the production ASA, you would be seeing this because there are a lot of levels or there are a lot of users who would be on a same security level like 50 to 50 or let's say 80 to 80. So how do they talk to each other if you don't bring this command? So by default, ASIC don't enable this, but you have to add this and bring this up. So any doubt till this point? So what was that my scenario number? So my scenario was 5 as of now. Ping between VPC1 to VPC2, which is now success after all those config that we did. Okay. And I have not started the scenario 6. That was our last scenario. I'm just taking a quick Q&A here. Do you have any question from any of the things we did here in the first 6 step? So we are good to move.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Sagar, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
This interface command is a kind of global command. Like it allows traffic on all the interfaces. What if we have multiple interfaces and we want like to allow interface traffic only on only two interfaces?
For which command you are asking if it's a global? Can you come again?
The interface command is a global command, like enable on all the interfaces.
Exactly.
What if we have like multiple interfaces and we want interfaces on only two?
No, this is a global command only. Everything will be activated in that case. You can write policy to block if you don't want anything to be allowed. But this will be a global and it will bring that activation in all the interfaces.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So we will now move to the last scenario. One of our interface, which is gig 1.20, I have to make to work as security level 50. Okay. So I'll go back to my ASA. I'll go back to interface gig 0 slash uh, what is that? 2.2 dot series, right? Yeah, it was 2. So I'll make 2.20. And this security level is going to be 50 now. Okay, since I'm initiating from this side, I would make security level of dot 10 to be 50. Okay. So I want to show you guys from a 50 to 100, because this by default will not be permitted. You need to add ACLs only. So in the last class, we tried already 100 to 0. So I'm not going to show you that. Today we saw 100 to 100. Now the final scenario, we were left with 0 to 100 or anything like lower to higher. So for that purpose, the HR team I'll keep at security level 50, and sales team I'll keep at security level 100. So once you do this, okay, once let's say if I bring this configuration, you go back, the one which was working some time back now has stopped working. The reason is it's a low to high thing. And how do you also make sure from ASA that what exactly is happening, or is the ACLs messing up or whatever? So do you have a command called packet tracer? It's on Cisco ASA plus FTD. You will see this command called packet tracer. So you can check quickly if there is any blockage from ACL, from NAT, from QoS, from routing, L2, anything is getting blocked. So it works on the incoming direction. So you need to tell that flow of your direction. So now the packet is entering from HR VLAN. So you will say input HR VLAN. It's a ICMP packet. What is your source? Source was 10.1.100. What ICMP type? You know that it's a request and reply. So the code type is 8 and 0 for ICMP. And what destination? Destination that you got on the other side was 192.168. And what is this? 10.3, right? So you say 10.3. And you see what could be the blockage. So it is clearly giving you a picture from the status that it is having right now, because we have configured the security levels on the interfaces, right? So it will do its smart way of checking both the interfaces, and by comparing it with the checklist from access list, routing, and NAT, ACLs, the phases that we discussed yesterday. And then it comes to conclusion that there is a ACL problem. Because of this ACL issue, uh, there's a drop. Either I don't have the needful ACLs because it's a 50 to 100, then I need some permit statement ACL. Or it could be also a reason that I'm giving a implicit deny ACL. That is also a reason it is blocking. So you can see this like a phase. Yesterday I was telling you it is like a step, like what happens first when the packet comes and the counter increases, right? So this is how it is going to do a very quick check, and then it will say that ACL is dropped. In the production as well, when you receive scenarios, you will receive tickets to allow the communication between this to this over on port 80. The first thing that you should do is packet tracer. You will get to know that there is any drop via ACL, then add those the needful policy. Once again, do the packet tracer. Why we are doing packet tracer is because I may not have two users at that point of time. It might be a off shift for them, so I cannot go and tell them you test it now and then let me know it's working or not, right? They will come next morning, might be you have logged it, and then they are pissed off by saying that I raised the ticket and it's not working. They might escalate. So how, as a firewall engineer, you would do your own testing to be on a safer side? You have packet tracer for you. If you put the needful access list, then there should not be any symptoms which is stuck on ACL drop. It should show you ACL pass. That's a good symptoms, right? So we will add first ACLs, and then we can once again come back and redo the packet tracer, and this should not be any issues for us. It should not be stuck at this. It should show us that it's clean, it's good, and then we can initiate the uh, test traffic. So basically, it's a ACL thing, what it is expecting. And on which side we need ACL? On the ingress side, we need the ACL. So let's prepare some uh, ACLs. Let's prepare something on the interface which is facing low traffic, because the drop is happening at that point right now on the HR VLAN. That is why you could see here. See, input interface is this, and it is drop. If for any reason, if it was shown you the input was sales VLAN, then you should add the ACLs at this point. Okay, you should add it in this point. Right now, this is drop at this point. So you should add ACL here. For some reason, if it was vice versa scenario, you saw that input is sales VLAN interface, then the ACL is to be added at this point. So right now it's on the inside drop. So I will be preparing ACL at this point, ACL on the HR VLAN. Okay. So we will add access list. HR VLAN is a generic word just to make it more presentable. Since it's a ingress, I have given that underscore in. You can come up with the implicit deny rule at line number 10. It's a extended type, and you can mention that deny all other ICMP. If anything comes to this or any other traffic for TCP comes to it, you just deny it, because you are allowing only ICMP as of now. You can say that access list HR VLAN in line 1 extended permit ICMP. And on a firewall, always remember it is point to point, like host to host. You cannot allow a /24 to /24. That is not a best practice. Okay, that you should always be like /32 to /32. If the request comes from user, it is always /32 to /32. You will not allow all his /24, because there could be uh, any spoof or any free IPs which are not allocated to real user, but then a spoofed device comes in, he might get that. And if you allow all 24, then he will also have the access to the server, which is not good from the security side. So only allow /32. In some enterprises, if the ask comes from /24, then there are other steps involved. They might have another team to approve them, and then whoever had raised this ticket, he has to justify why they need /24. Why not only /30 or 32, or only like two users or three IP? So once you get those higher level of approval, then you can allow for /24. It's not that you can't do it from technical point, it is not safe to do it. That is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so extended permit ICMP, and we will give the IP that I need as of now. So let's say ICMP uh, host 10.1.100 trying to come to 192.168.10.3. Okay, and yeah, something like this. And then I can define the access group HR VLAN in. And which direction is this? It's a ingress direction. And which interface you are activating? You're activating over here. Okay, so you have this access list. As of now, all zero count because I have not initiated any traffic. As soon as I initiated traffic, which was some time back not working. So now since I have a permit rules, you can see it start working because that is what a firewall does. You have to say which traffic to allow, then it will allow. Otherwise, it's going to deny. And you can also check the hit count. So you can see the hit count is hitting on the permit statement. So on this interface, as of now, you are only allowing this usage. There will be all other traffics are going to get dropped. And I also told you once I put this access list in the production, the testing at the same time is not feasible because the users are from different time zone. They might have walked out of the office, they come next morning, and you are doing all this at your own time zones or whatever, off hours or whatever, right? So you how do you come to know that is it good or bad? That is where you will use that packet tracer. So use packet tracer, and you see that it should show you as allow. Okay. Earlier it was failing somewhere at line number 4, but now you can see that the phase 4 will bring up the rule that is making this communication green or making this communication go good, right? So this is the line. So it will show you this line as well. So that means your packet is able to enter because you already have the permit rules for that. And then all the things, rest of the things happen. You have the stateful inspection, and then the final result says to be allow. And you have also done a proper user to user testing. You can do the ping test. You are able to reach this. So what was that scenario number? The scenario number was the final scenario, the sixth scenario. Ping between, I will give this as 50 to 100. This is what we did. So 50 to 100, which didn't work initially because I was not having the needful permit statement. Once I added my permit statement, I am good. I can see the hit count. I can see my packet tracer working, right? So those are troubleshooting command. So I have discussed you troubleshooting commands where I shown you the capture command. I have shown you how do you open up packet tracer. It's not that packet tracer application which you use for CCNA purpose. Okay, this is not that application. This is a command here in Cisco ASA and Cisco Firepower packet tracer. And also I shown you Wireshark, which again is not something you will always see in the production because over here in the emulator it's very easy. You can right click, you can open the capture. But on a network, a real network, how would you right click and open it? You might need a PC, you might install Wireshark on that, and then you might capture it. But across the cables it's not that easy that you do a right click and open Wireshark. So how do you troubleshoot in over on a production? These are the two things for you to troubleshoot. Wireshark is okay from lab perspective. Okay. If you have lab perspective of if you have this installed on the user PC, then you can do it. But capture and packet traces are your ASA CLI utility command, like how you have ping and trace route, which you use most of the time. So similar way, this is something most of the time you will use it in the ASA scenario. There's also one more variant of it that's to get the detailed output. So if you go back to ASA, you do a question mark, there's something called detailed. You can get more detailed And also, in case you want to get the output in the XML format, might be you are having some front end tool or some automation, then you can actually read it or convert this into a front end HTML format as well. Because XMLs are like a front end um, tools, right? So you can get something like in a dashboard or in a browser based access. If you are accessing directly on the CLI, you can go with detailed. Detailed in the sense it will give you a bit more information. Okay, you can see that there were hits of 83 counts. Let's see on the fourth phase what happens. So you have see forward flow information. You have the ICMP type, ICMP code. This is the source, this is the destination. This is the eighth phase where you had allowed the ICMP. So detailed is when you need something much more from TAC level. For a normal administrator, a normal without a detailed one is also sufficient. You will get enough information from the final output. So we have discussed the scenario, we have done the configuration, we have discussed about the troubleshooting steps. So do you have any question?
Sagar, I'm Sachin here. I'm a routing switching background.
Mhm.
So for me, it's quite difficult to understand this Cisco ASA term. So is just a CLI format, or is there a GUI format for this configuring
Yes,
ASA?
yes. It has GUI as well. So right now we are going through CLI mode. Later, after
Mhm,
some days, I'll go with ASDM, which is
mhm.
the dashboard kind of thing.
And I have another question. So, what's the purpose of having the ACL on the top of the firewall?
ACLs.
Yeah.
See, firewalls don't come with any permit or deny statement. It is the ACL which will tell whom to allow and which one to drop.
Hmm.
Okay, by default, firewalls will drop everything, but I don't want everything to be dropped, right? I want the good traffic to also get transmitted across the firewall. So for that only ACLs I'm using so that I can permit whatever I need it. And what is not needed by default is all getting dropped only.
So, will there be any differences creating this firewall policies and that ACL that?
ACLs are only called policies.
Okay. In
These are
ASA
only
term?
called policies. We don't say access list because normally access list uh, on a router is what? You put standard and extended. Same
Yeah.
thing, we can do it in the firewall also. But in the
Okay.
firewalls, we can also come up with lot of more information. I can add
Hmm.
antivirus,
Okay.
anti-spyware. I can
Hmm.
add the DPI packet inspection. So that is why all together we call them as policy. So
Okay.
ACL is a part of policy itself. Without ACL policy, you cannot define.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we are going from very basic level. At any point, if you face any problem, I am there to guide, and I'll be also giving you the reading material from ASA perspective. So we
Sure.
have good number of classes from ASA. Then we will go to firepower, which is the next gen firewall.
Okay. And also, you will give a brief explanation that's why this the any firewall industry is taking in the lead in the market. So, in comparison of that ASA or
Yes,
uh,
definitely. Yeah. So there is something called Gartner report.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So as per that, Palo Alto leads. Then you
Okay.
have FortiGate. Then
Yeah.
you have Cisco, right? So one of our course, Firewall Mastery, is covering all this from the vendor perspective.
Okay.
And in case you're looking for the CCI or CCNP point of view,
Mhm.
then that also we have it, and it will cover a different modules like VPNs or different type of modules. So I'll hand over that to my academic person. So
Sure.
Yeah, he will give you more detail about the modules, and he can also answer your question about which track to go with. Because since you're from routing switching, if
Yep.
your interest is on learning more and more firewalls, then you go
Yep.
with firewall industry, firewall mastery course. But someone who is here who needs
Mhm.
CCI desperately, I want to be CCI this year. I don't
Mhm.
want Palo Alto, I do not need FortiGate. That is not my need. I need the rank because might be I'm on a promotion. I'm
Mhm.
already have 10 years of experience, and my employer is asking me to be a CCI rank so that I can be a project manager or I can be a solution architect. So for
Mhm.
those people, CCI rank is important because the management or the employer needs them to be, a CCI holder to promote
Mhm.
them. So it's up to the requirement of each candidate. So
Mhm.
the academic counselor will give you that detail, and he will let you. He's already in this call. So if there is no technical reason, I'm good for the day. I'll give you this config. You guys can practice once in the lab also, and I'll hand over to him so that he can take up and present the next 10-15 minutes to you. And those guys who have already enrolled to this courses, you can please drop off. Okay, I don't want you to uh, spend your time here in the class. You can, this is Sunday night here in India, so it's your call. You want, you can be here. Otherwise, you're free to drop off, because the next 10-15 minutes is just the admission related discussion.
Hello, before you go,
Yeah.
do we have access to the image on the Google?
Yes, if you send me the request, I can approve that.
Okay, okay,
Okay. If you put a request over on G Drive, I can approve that.
okay.
All right. So do we have anything from the technical point of view?
How about the notepad, the
Yeah,
configuration on the notepads?
I will give that. Usually I will give you the access of Google Drive, right? So it is already having in that. So let me just show you. Give me a second. If you have
Okay.
explored our Learn portal, you will have access to the course that you are enrolled to. So, for example, ASFTD. So this will have the OVA file, which is like 12 to 15 GB, which is for the home lab, and the workbooks are kept here. So today I discussed something from lab 2, port unblock. So you can find the configs here. Okay, so these are some configs, these are some labs for ASA, and then we will move toward FTD and FMC. So those are kept here. So today's lab, I'll give you in the WhatsApp as well, so that you can take it from there.
Uh, did we share the Google Drive link? Is it like for everyone?
Yes, you
Or
have to go to the learn.networkjourney.com and check for class 0. The class 0 of the web portal has a Google Drive link.
okay, yeah, yesterday I happened to check, but then I didn't find it, so I was wondering about that.
No, I think I got your request for G Drive and I approved it. So you once again go
Okay,
back, and you should have the access by now.
okay. Thank you, Sagar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Varis, you have any question? I saw you unmuted. Mohit.
Hi, Sagar, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yes.
Hi, Sagar. I have a question for you. I work under network architects. These people they design, and I work on regularly ASAs or whatever you were showing today. I understood. My question to you is, if we enroll in this course, how far are we to, or what is the timeline you would say to get our CCIE? Like, what type of information will be missing or covered, to get to that the exam?
Okay, you mean to say like how this course is pipelined from CCIE perspective?
Yes. So if we go through this course, what topics and in what detail you will cover, and what will be missing that we will have to put in our own effort to get to the CCIE exam.
See, for CCI, we are covering all the modules, ASA, FTD, and SVPN, SCORE, ESAW, SA, and then Cisco ICE, then the CCI bootcamp. So this is what the modules we are covering. And also, during the bootcamp, we are trying to give you some material which will be like used for the actual exam as well. Okay, so the access will be given to you and you can practice the design or the troubleshooting thing. You can practice it from there. So that will be given once we have covered these module, because as you know that the transition from 6 to 6.1 happened just 3-4 months back. So there is no stable version as of now. So it will happen only after April and May, and you can expect some stable material, and then you can practice it during the bootcamp. All right, I hope I answered your question. Sajid, are you in the call? Can you please take over?
Hey, Sagar, sorry,
Yeah.
just 1 second. Will you be able to include some of those troubleshooting commands on the text, like the
Yeah, sure. I will do
yeah,
that. Okay.
because I saw I downloaded the folder from the drive. It doesn't have any of those, so just going through the lab, it would be nice to practice
Yeah,
some of those.
I will update this. So today's lab
And
is updated.
okay,
Yeah.
awesome. And the other question I had, when you configure DHCP on the firewall, is it possible to do more than /24 on ASA, or that's the only thing that it supports?
Which one? Come again. Which one?
When you configure DHCP on ASA,
Okay.
ASA is a DHCP server. Is it
Okay.
possible to make it so right now you have a /24, right? That's the
Uh-huh.
subnet.
Okay.
Can we do more than that, like a bigger subnet /16,
Yes,
18?
you can go and define whatever range you need it.
Okay.
And in the client side, you can accordingly make use of, let's say, 254, or let's say whatever different subnet you needed from this side.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, the question, it was just only related to DHCP because once it's probably related to the code, we tried it on one of
Yeah.
the ASAs in our sites, and it was not supporting more than /24. And reading a blog, it says that ASAs can only do a /24. So it could be just the code that we
Oh,
were
okay.
running.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, Sajid, you can take over.
Yeah, sure.